a super palate. Cigar loons invaders of the cigar world. Grumpy preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigarless podcast, come and join us. Vitola and proof expert on all things spirits. Tobacco G, Stitch director of special operations. Cigar Loons podcast, we are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. As a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons invaders of the cigar world. Preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Loons podcast, come and join us.
What else?
Hello, and welcome to the Cigar Loons podcast. Today, our guest is Jeremy Ellis from Micallef Cigars. How you doing, Jeremy?
Doing
nice
well,
to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for the invite.
So, I guess we'll let the guys go around and say hello. Good after or good evening for most everybody. Go ahead.
All right, Jeremy, and welcome to the Cigar Lounge, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Jeremy. We're glad to have you. Looking forward to a great show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you taking your time being here with us, brother. Looking forward to having a good one. Just, man, be yourself. Turn it loose. Have fun.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here, and I'm already enjoying the cigar, so I can't wait for the conversation.
Jump the gun, man.
There you go. So, in my research on Micallef Cigars, I found that this was a collaboration between Al Micallef and the Sanchez family. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to give a little bit of history and tell us about the brand, where you guys began.
Yeah, so the Gomez Sanchez family, man, they've been rolling cigars since 1934. They started out in Cuba. In fact, we have a cigar named the Migdalia. And that cigar is named after the matriarch of the family who used to roll for Castro. I lost visual of you guys. Is that?
No, yeah, we blew you up because you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get to look at myself and talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Migdalia. So she rolled that cigar, blended that cigar. But their family has been rolling cigars since 1934. They moved to Mexico, and during that time, they wanted to get their cigars into the United States. And so what they decided to do was go on a rolling tour. So they got in their van, started to drive around the United States, setting up their van to roll cigars, sell cigars. And they ended up breaking down in front of Silverleaf Cigar Lounge, which is downtown Fort Worth. Now, this is the cigar lounge that Al Micallef would frequent, and he was there that night. They went out. They actually helped them get their van up and running, invited them inside. They sat down and talked for I don't know how long. And at the end of all of that, Al said, "Hey, why don't you roll me 1,000 of your best cigars?" And then so they had him roll those 1,000 cigars. He bought those from them, and he loved them and said, "Hey, I'll get you a warehouse, a factory. Let's go into business together." And so they shook hands, and that was the union of Al Micallef and the Gomez Sanchez family.
Awesome.
Yeah, just break it down at the right place at the right time.
That's crazy. That's the world really does kind of show us every day how small it is, doesn't it?
Mm.
So I guess we'll go from there to tell us a little bit about the different blends you guys are putting out. I know you guys have a new one that's just been released. Give you an opportunity to talk about that, and then like you to let us know what your favorite Micallef cigar is.
So my favorite Micallef cigar right now is the red, which hasn't even been released yet. Well, it has, but it's been released to places that are doing events, and then the actual release will be middle of October. I love it. It is our new one, our third one in the color series. Can I talk about the one we're smoking?
Yeah.
So we're smoking the black, and this was the first one that we came out with in this color series. It is a San Andreas Maduro over an Ecuadorian Habano binder and Nicaraguan filler. It is, I mean, the construction of the cigar is fantastic. So one thing that I've been most impressed with the Gomez Sanchez family and the two brothers that roll for us is that they still do a draw test on every cigar, and their construction is just very good. And so this cigar came out, and it came out at a price point that was a $7 retail Robusto and $8 retail Toro.
Mhm.
So in the time where seems like everyone's releasing cigars that are like 18, 20, 25, $100,
Mhm.
Al Micallef released this one at $7 and $8, and it got Cigar of the Year through Cigar Aficionado, or through not Cigar Aficionado, through Cigar Authority. And since then, we came out with our blue, which is a San Andreas Sumatra over an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, and then Nicaraguan Dominican filler. Same price point. So you have the $7 and $8 for the Robusto Toro, and then our third release just came out, and it is a San Andreas Habano over a broadleaf binder and Nicaragua and Mexican filler, and it is unbelievable, in my opinion.
Awesome. We have a guest who wants you to tell us about the Migdalia.
The Migdalia, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, is named after the matriarch of the family, and she came up with a blend, and it is a San Andreas Habano over Sumatra binder with Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. It is, to me, one of our unique ones. I think it has like a Middle Eastern spice to it. But yeah, she did a great job with this blend. It's killer. So
Interesting.
we
Well, that's
have
really
so we have 3 in our color series, but our legacy or core line we have
Mhm.
1, 2, 9 or 10 other cigars. And
okay.
so yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So 13 cigars,
Nice.
12 cigars.
Nice
Nice.
portfolio.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and when Micallef first came to the scene, the one complaint that we had, and I just started a year and a half ago, and so I wasn't around through the inception, but I know they came out with these cigars and they were on the higher price point. And as a boutique brand, it's very difficult to get traction that way. And so I think our color series, although our blends, the majority of our cigars, I love to smoke. Uh, Although they're great, they were just outside of that price point. And so they kind of did some restructuring just after COVID and put in motion the color series, and then the rest of our cigars had a little bit of a price cut. And so I think we got a good lineup, my opinion.
Nice.
I'm not biased.
Yeah.
No,
This is what
Understood.
not
this
a
is
bit.
hard. So I was a cigar smoker since 2013,
Right.
and in 2019 when I moved to Columbus, Ohio, I became really good friends with a GM at a shop here in Columbus, and then I started to kind of really dive in deep of the world of cigars. Learned a lot more. Loved it. Loved the community. Love what cigars does, and so I always wanted to jump on a job if it came open. But the one thing I hated about cigars was if it was plugged or it wouldn't burn right or it fell apart. Like that just changes the experience. Flavor profile is different. It's subjective, but construction, draw, that's not. And so when I actually never smoked a cigar of Micallef before I applied, just between you and me. Well,
and our tens of followers.
Yeah,
You didn't hear that here.
But as soon as I submitted my application when I applied, I went out and bought as many as I could find, and I've come to love these cigars. So it's been good.
Well, there you go. You jumped the gun on my next question, which was let's talk about your history now. So
Hey, it happens. It happens. Don't complain.
I'm just playing. It was just funny.
Well,
you answered the question before I said it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
In 2013, I got together with a group of friends in Pittsburgh, and they kind of reignited my desire for cigars. So I've been smoking since then. But I was 5 years before taking this job, I taught classes in prisons across the state of Ohio. So I've been in every prison in the state of Ohio, basically, teaching classes. And so when this rep position came open, I left that and took it. So that's what I did.
Nice. Do you mind us asking what classes you were teaching, or is a teacher is being a teacher your like original career? Or?
So more background information. I've been a pastor for
there we go.
15 years, 18 years.
There you go, man.
And so I pastor a church in Grove City, Columbus area, still. And the classes I was teaching was through a nonprofit that was like leadership and healthy relationships and fatherhood, that kind of stuff.
So awesome.
Good deal.
Awesome.
Good deal.
There seems to be a good amount of people who are also, men of faith in the cigar industry and people of faith, not just men.
Yeah.
My ambition is to hope to get more of them to come out the closet, because there's nothing that brings community or draws men to have conversation like cigars.
Exactly.
And so
absolutely.
It's sad that it's still kind of taboo in those circles. But we do steaks and stogie events at my church. In fact, I have one coming up. We get about 50 guys out there on the lawn smoking cigars in the church.
Wow.
So that'll make someone upset, probably.
Nah. Well, no one that you can see.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
I've had all the rocks thrown at me too, brother. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I was never a pastor, but my father was, so there's that.
Yeah.
Gary says he was a deacon for 17 years. Thank you for your comments, Gary. He's apparently a big Micallef fan.
Yeah, I saw that pop up.
Yeah.
Which is great. Glad to hear it. So I guess, sorry, I just looked out my window and there's a groundhog sitting there. That was weird.
That's a hint right there.
Right? I don't know what's a hint for.
Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. You know the movie.
There you go. I hope it doesn't repeat this week. So far, it's not
we
been
start
a great
over
one.
here in a minute.
So, all right. I guess I can. I'm going to throw it to the guys now. You guys have any questions you want to ask? We'll start with you, Gareth. You're up in the corner, man.
Well, you looking at us like that for? You didn't want to go first?
No, I'm still thinking because I've got a couple in the head in You know something? We're 14 minutes into the show, so you other guys answer yours, and I'll come back and answer
All right.
mine. So, Kurt.
Kurt.
I'll go. So again, Jeremy, thank you for being with us. On the Micallef website, you have the Micallef Ambassador Program. Can you explain what that is and what would be the benefit of someone signing up for that, and how that program works?
There's
Marking that down.
there's a couple benefits. So the ambassador page started. I want to say that was birthed out of at least the online events that we started doing on that page was birthed in 2020. But we started to gain this following and these ambassadors, and so now they have this group that's pretty large on Facebook. And when you sign up to become an ambassador, you get a challenge coin that has your own number on it. And you just fill out the form. That coin gets sent to you in the mail. Now you're an ambassador. One of the things that they did when we released our cigar that's called the A, we rolled that out to the ambassadors first. And I forget how many got to try it first. And they're like, you get to name it. And they named it Ambassador, of course. But the problem is that that name was already taken by a cigar, so we couldn't do that. So we just reduced it down to the A, and so that's what it stood for. The other thing that we do is every Friday. This goes back to being like brick and mortar friendly. Huge supporters of brick and mortar, heartbeat of the industry. We do a Fave 5 drawing. So basically, if you smoke 5 different Micallef cigars, you take those bands, you put them on this pamphlet that we have that you can download from the website or whatever, and then you take a picture and you send it in. You get put into a drawing where you can win up to $250 to your retailer of choice. So if you get on the ambassador page, you see like people submitting their Fave 5s. Like some people submit 30 at a time. It's insane. And they are now able to win. It's usually a $50 gift card to their retailer of choice plus a $10 card for a friend of theirs. And so it's our way of pouring money back into the brick and mortars. So we do that every Friday.
Nice.
All right, great, very good. And you said you've only been with them a year and a half, but during that time, have you had a chance to travel to South America to any of the factories or any experience with that?
Unfortunately, I haven't yet, but it is on my list. I keep trying to put that before Al Micallef himself. So hopefully, he actually travels with me this week. So I'll do that pitch again.
Okay. All right. And we had mentioned that you actually came to my area where I live here in the Blue Ridge Mountains and enjoyed a vacation with your family. So, like I say, you said you opened up that account at Smoky Bear Cigars and Cafe, and that's my home shop. I mean, that's really awesome. I've got 2 shops up here, but I love that place. It's just that log cabin feel in there. So it's nice to see your cigars in there. And we have a lot of cigars on the podcast that I have to end up ordering online, but I knew as soon as you were coming, I said, I know exactly where I can go and get this, and just went up and saw George and Iram up there. So,
yeah, they're good.
All right, I'll pass it on over. Yeah, they are. I'll pass it on over to Grumpy and see what he's got.
Yeah, man. We know what I got. But I did come up with another question though from when you were opening up talking there. First, you said you had like 13 different sticks in the portfolio. Which one of those is your number one seller? And then of course the question that's already been batted around, but our listeners haven't heard it yet. While I was researching, I ran across it, and it caught my eye because usually everybody's trying to get their name out, and get out there in as many places as they can, and be seen. And I ran across that one where you guys kind of cut ties, with CI Thompson and, the online part of things. And that kind of caught my attention, and I thought, well, I need to hear that, because it said it was a strategic move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just kind and of course now, since we throw that out there for our listeners, because that would kind of catch you different, because everybody's trying to get known, and you cut ties with a couple of online ones and say it's a strategic move. I'm sure they're interested in hearing what that strategy was, and so fire that at them.
All right, so I'll start with our best sellers. Our black
Right.
was our top seller.
Okay.
After getting Cigar of the Year through Cigar Authority, it definitely was. I'll give you the others. I don't remember the order that they're in right now, but our blue and our A are both up in our top sellers. And then
Right.
we have one called the Torsadors, and it's a $5 box press Churchill, and it is, for a $5 cigar, fantastic. And so people love that cigar, so they buy a lot of it. So those are probably our top. And then our Leyenda, if you've seen pictures of it, which I don't have one, I wish I did. But our Leyenda number 1 comes in an open face coffin, and it's kind of a figurado shape. It's Churchill, or the Churchill size what we have now. It's a beautiful display, and it's the original blend since 1934, and it was a great seller. But the problem is, being in the open face coffin, a Churchill size, it was in the $18 to $20 price range, and that was a little high for a lot of people. So they released the Leyenda Toro and Robusto, same blend, just in without the coffin and as a Toro and Robusto size, and those have actually shot up there too as being top sellers. That Leyenda Toro, just because it is a very unique and distinct blend that they have. It's a great cigar. The one in the coffin's phenomenal, I think. But yeah, so those are our top ones right now. I foresee the red. Like, when you have a chance to get a red, smoke it.
Right.
I can show you. I got one of those. I can show you that one. Yeah, right here. This guy.
Okay.
Right
So we had the black, the blue,
and
the red. So it's my favorite. I'll go as far as say this. Right now, it's the number 1 cigar I would choose to smoke out of anything else.
Okay.
So now back to your other question, the CI, Famous, and some of those things. Yeah, we strategically pulled out of those markets because we show this kind of comic strip at the PCA, but it's almost like if a guy walks into your shoe store, wants to try on your shoe, and ask for the Wi-Fi password while he's trying on your shoe. So after he tries the shoe on, he can get online and then order the shoe at a cheaper price. That's what people do in cigar shops. They'll go into a brick and mortar, they'll try a cigar they like, leave, order the box online at a discount price. And it's becoming, it's an epidemic. It is the thing now. When you include Cigars International, Cigar Bid, like, that's what happens. People buy online because it's cheaper. And I understand, like, especially in the economic downturn that we're in, like, it's, when you smoke a lot of cigars, that's what you have to do. But the heartbeat of our industry is brick and mortar. It's the community that's involved. We know that. And so they decided to pull away from anything online and show our support to brick and mortar. And that's been what we've done. And they've run some kind of like sample surveys, but the number 1 reason someone chooses to smoke a cigar is because it was recommended to them by a friend.
Right.
Number two is because the humidor attendant recommended a cigar. Anything past those whether it be advertisement, whether it be, marketing online, like it falls so down. It's not even comparable. So we want to show retailers, hey, we got your back, so that they want to push our cigars, and create an ambassador group that gets people to recommend them. So that's what we do.
Sure.
Right. But I greatly appreciate that because, I mean, of course, we were sitting there before it started and that got hit on, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, well, okay. And it's like, no, ask anyway. So, but yeah, that's the kind of thing that people, information, the things that a lot of people don't really know or think about that goes on in this industry and stuff, and when you see that, and everybody that we talk to is interested in getting out there, and then you see that cutback, and it's like, I have to hear the reasoning behind it, and I greatly appreciate that, and I appreciate you going through the repetitive thing there,
Yeah, absolutely.
but they jumped on my question in the backstage before it got started, folks. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, they blew my night out of the water before it got started. But man, I do
Here we
appreciate
go.
it, and man, I'm having a good time. This cigar is just phenomenal, man. It is. I'm loving it. But I'm gonna throw it down to Jesse. I know he's got questions. So
Let, let,
Jesse, do what,
let me
buddy?
let me
Okay.
interject real quick before we
Yes,
get to
sir.
Jesse.
Yes, sir. You're
Hey,
so
hey.
good.
Like to
Yes,
give
sir.
anybody watching us the opportunity. If you have a question you want Jeremy to talk about, go ahead and put it in the chat, and let's get that question answered. All
Yeah,
right,
they're
Jess,
right
go
here.
ahead.
All right. Well, my question was going to be really more about the history of Micallef. Like we said before, it's huge, right? I mean, we go from Cuba to Mexico to rolling in Nicaragua. It's just a lot of heritage of different regions mixed together, uh, and it'd be interesting to see your look on how you see that heritage, those three different heritages. How do you see that uh, coming out of the cigars that you smoke with them?
Yeah. So that's a great point. Just knowing the history behind the Gomez Sanchez family, and then when you go into partnership with someone else, how do you keep your heritage, but then also become what it needs to become in the new market? And
Right.
so that, and I think that's what we see with the our new color series, because a good majority of the blends in our core line were original blends from the Gomez Sanchez family. So their heritage is rich in those cigars. And so as this partnership continued to unfold, they came out with the Micallef A, and now the black, blue, and red, as a way of now, like, Micallef has a lot more involvement with the Gomez Sanchez family and the brothers, and so it's basically two worlds colliding, and I think they've been able to keep some good heritage. Um, our if you take the band off your cigar, you don't have to right now if you don't like to do that, but it says on the back of it, two. You see it? It's a handshake that says two families, one legacy. And so it's just another way of,
Nice.
of reminding our customers that these are two families that came together to create this now one legacy. So
Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. To see that commitment between two different heritages. Coming
yeah,
together.
yeah. And so we bought the factory in Esteli, Nicaragua, and after we did that, we became basically fully integrated. So we ferment our tobaccos. We have fields now. We have our own factory. So we do the full process. The best
Nice.
way to that I tell to retailers is it's seed to shelf. So our black, blue, red is the seed to your shelf, which is we cut out any middleman to be able to keep the prices lower, um,
Yeah.
for their benefit. So
Well, no, yeah, that's
Awesome.
awesome. I mean, keeping it, you know, where you guys are in control of it all and cutting out the middlemen and, overall looking out for the smaller guy in the industry with brick and mortars and stuff like that. And I think that's a great, you know, business motto, and it's obviously working very, very well for you guys.
yeah, thank you.
I will now pass it to Mr. Gus.
Hey, if I can just interject one thing before we go up to Gaz.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the importance of the brick and mortars, and I look at my area, we moved up here 3 years ago, and we're in a beautiful part of the country, but I am somewhat isolated. I mean, we've got property. I can't see my neighbors. I've got the mountains,
Yeah.
the lake. I can't think of anywhere else I want to retire and finish out my years. But if I didn't have that cigar shop up there, that is like the one place. I mean, I sit and smoke cigars every night on the porch with my dogs, and we're live on Discord or whatever. We're all together, probably 3-4 nights a week smoking cigars. But that place up there is a very special place for me, and to be able to, you have to support your brick and mortars because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. And they've got to survive, but it's the environment that you create. That the shop creates for you to go in and relax, and it's something very special. And I think a lot of times, I understand. I all of us buy cigars, online. Everybody does it, but to be able to say you can support your brick and mortar, I think that's very important, and I hope it continues to go that way.
Yeah, and on the other side of that coin, being in a remote area, one of the disadvantages, if you don't have a lounge, how are you going to order Micallef cigars if we don't sell them online? And so the one thing that we do is brick and mortars that have us in their humidor on site can sell our product online through whatever online platform they use. And they just stay within the same pricing that we would expect at the shop. So we do you will find them online, which is great for people who live in remote areas. But it's definitely a better option than, seeing cigars at $5 that should be $10. But.
Right.
Yeah.
So real quick before we head over to Gaz, let me just say our T-shirts and other merch are available on Amazon.com. You can search for Cigar Loons. You can search for Cigar Kurt, and I think you can find them that way. I think we had a slide you wanted to put up, Gaz. All right, now up to the Ginger Grizzly Bear for his question.
Himself, the man himself.
The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah.
Yeah, the cigars have locals. Well, yours. Good evening, Jeremy. Welcome. Of course, to the Cigar Loons. And thanks to everyone, of course, who's in the comments, from Gary, of course, to our other guests who are watching in Instagram and also on rumble.com. And we thank you very much. And like I say, Gary's last comment was from, of course, the Migdalia. He's getting oak and cedar. And then just the notes that he loves the most. And they are great. That's the thing. Something everyone enjoys. Micallef. Now, what makes Micallef different to every other boutique cigar company out there, would you say, that makes Micallef unique compared to anyone else?
It's a good question. I would. One of the things that makes us a little different is, so Al Micallef made his money through manufacturing silicone. He's kind of a self. He went out, created these manufacturing plants, and did very, very well for himself. And his story, if you ever have a chance to listen to this guy, man, his stories are fantastic. He's lived well, and so he has a passion for cigars, and so he's never held back anything when it came to making Micallef cigars as a boutique brand, but not skimp on anything to make sure that this brand is treated with great respect and professionally. And so I think with his commitment to that has been fantastic. So it separates us out a little bit, I would say, because not a lot of boutique brands have a full sales force. You know, we have inside sales, and we have Texas, Montana, and other areas over there. We don't reach to Washington State, I don't think. But did you find us in a shop over there in Washington State?
Nolan's in Traverse City, Michigan.
No, not
Okay.
not over here where I'm at. Over here, it's hard to find even the mainstream ones because it's such a small town.
Yeah, so we have reps Northeast, Mid Atlantic, Florida, Midwest, where I'm at. Like, so we have a full sales team. The stretch, so which is unique for a boutique, boutique brand. On top of that, you know, I think with the history and the commitment and backing of the Gomez Sanchez family and the quality of cigars that they do, I think it notches us up, in my opinion. You know, I don't want to, you know, degrade any other brand. It does give us, I think, a leg up, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know something? It's an interesting question, and it's one that most companies like either to duck and not tell you, or they do tell you. And this is the thing: when, of course, you're bringing out a brand, you've got to be unique compared to X, Y, and Z that are coming out with cigars. And you've got to be out there. And thank you, of course, for answering that question. I know, of course, you do travel a hell of a lot. And I had a look, of course, on the list where you go. So, of course, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Ellis, of course, Wisconsin, Western Pennsylvania, Western Virginia, and also West Tennessee. That's
they have West
a
Virginia
lot. That's a lot of traveling for you. How do you, of course, cope with that amount of traveling? How do you cope with that? Because that's some road work.
The good news is, the way I tell people now, I do have Wisconsin and Minnesota. I haven't been to some of those places yet. I only go when it's warm, because I'm not fighting their snow, because it's intense. But I go from Michigan to Chicago down to Nashville over to Pittsburgh is basically my main territory. And being in Columbus, Ohio, my furthest, most of everything is within 4 hours of Columbus. Chicago's 5.5, Nashville's 6. So I live in a really nice spot for travel wise, but it does. And like I said earlier, I got to be back home on a Sunday morning for service. So it's a little harder. So I'll travel usually from Tuesday to Friday morning, and then be home Friday morning through Monday, and then go back on the road.
Not cool. See, I just don't know how some people do that amount of traveling and try and get in as many shops as they can. Of course, many lounges as they are, and then of course events popping up left, right, and centre that of course you got to go in. Now, what of course Gary did say, and it was posted in the comments, which when it comes up, Gary says you are in Tobacco House in
Bossier City.
Go on, Kurt. Bossier City. There we go.
Bossier City. Yeah. Bossier City. Yep. Shreveport.
He says, so he says, of course, Micallef are there. And I know Gary did say, when I spoke to Gary, he's going to tune in tonight and smoke his Micallef because he is a big fan of Micallef. I know a lot of people are. Now, of course, how are you finding sales with the cigars, especially in this climate that we're in? Of course, with everywhere, and of course with the FDA rulings, different other rulings that are changing all over the world with cigars. How you've seen, of course, sales with Micallef compared to where they were before, of course, the FDA started getting them more involved
Yeah.
in trying to change the rules and, of course, the regulations.
I think I put a lot of credit on our president Dan, and then Amanda Micallef, the daughter of Al, who does all of our marketing as well, and how they have strategically planned out this year. Our PCA, because PCA was different. PCA is different because it was in March instead of July. For those who don't know what PCA is, it's the cigar convention that we go to. Sorry, my new pup is at the door. So with it being in March, like, we had no idea, like, what is this going to look like, because typically sales at retail shops are a little slow the first year anyways, and then it picks up for PCA in July, and then it dies down the end of third, fourth quarter. And so with releasing our blue at PCA, it went off very well. It helped our PCA numbers to be the best they've ever been. Then going into this year, people were still kind of riding that wave of the blue, the black, and reintroducing some of our core lines. Things were going smoothly, and then the anticipation of the red that was released in October. So the way they planned it out for us has been great. Our sales have been going in a great direction. Being a brand that doesn't require minimums and facings or orders, or being a lower priced cigar, like, I think it's, for retailers, I don't know why you wouldn't carry that kind of product, because we don't walk into your humidor and say we need that real estate, we need 20 facings worth of real estate, and then and so I don't know, I just think it's been working out well for us.
Yeah. Do you think, of course, with the last article that Cigar Aficionado brought out, of course, with the FDA, last week to this week, of course, it was posted. Do you reckon this is a win for, of course, the cigar industry, or do you reckon is the FDA going to come out with other rulings and still try, of course, to shut us down with cigars? Because I think, to me, reading it was quite a win. I do, because of course the comments weren't overturned. But I just want to see your take on that.
I think it's definitely a win for the battle. The war won't be over. So I like, it's a great win. I think we should be excited about the close future of cigars, especially since there's been a resurgence of cigar smokers, like, and I think that this helps. But FDA is always going to, even when they go down, they're going to go down swinging, and then they'll pop back up somewhere. Absolutely. And so I think it's always going to be there. But I think the cigar industry is still strong. So
how did you, of course, find, I know the dreaded word that we all hate, COVID period? How did Micallef cope, of course, in the COVID period with everything that you were doing? Of course, you couldn't get out to go and visit some shops. I know a lot of shops were open, especially in the States. I know here in the UK, everywhere was shut. We couldn't do much.
Yeah.
But how did you find, of course, in COVID with, of course, getting around and meeting the different shops, of course, who wanted to bring you in and doing that kind of stuff? Was it just all online, or did you manage to go out around COVID and, of course, try and get the cigars out?
That's a great question, because I wasn't with Micallef during COVID. But from what I could tell, like, I know there are some brands that even laid off some of their sales team during that time because you weren't going. But once again, through the graces of Al Micallef and their commitment, they still continued forward with their sales team. They were trying to do more like this, some podcasts, some shows. They did virtual events with a few shops that went really well. Like I have an event in Nashville. It's Dixon, Tennessee, on Thursday of next week with a shop that does very well with virtual events. And so
Cool.
I think they just tried to be as creative as they could, and it helped push it through.
So for any, of course, new cigar smoker, because we have a lot of new cigar smokers in our group, of course, who follow the cigar lounge and who we talk to, what would be, out of Micallef's portfolio, a beginner cigar to smoke? What would you recommend to a new cigar smoker?
So for strength portfolio or profile, the blue, I think, in my opinion, would be decent for a first time. I remember I had some I was at an event, they wanted sweet cigars. We don't have sweet cigars, and they wanted something light, and so I directed them to the blue, and they enjoyed it. So I think the blue profile works. We do have a Connecticut. The Connecticut, though, it does have some Habano in it to give it a little bit more body. So if it's someone who truly likes a Connecticut, someone who just likes to smoke air, this one's probably not for them because it adds a little bit more gumption to it. And then our Torcedors, being a mild to medium cigar and an inexpensive one at potentially $5 for the box press or torpedo. That's a great one to start out on. It's a great golfing stick too. Excuse me.
So I know, of course, you said you don't sell on Micallef's website officially, but of course people can go and check out Micallef's website and you can find out about the different cigars. Of course, the sales team, you can see Jeremy's picture on there and different people, and of course a little bit of information about Micallef on there. But where can they, of course, if they want to shop online, Jeremy, which websites, of course, can they go and get the cigars? If they go and shop online, which ones can they go and get them?
Put me in a position. So, any retailer that has an online presence in your territory, if they carry Micallef and they do online, I would encourage, support them. You can find it on Smoke In. You can find it on Two Guys. Those are two. They have big online presence. Neptune as well. And so I'd be remiss if I don't share my home shop here. One of my home shops, Casa Aficionado in Delaware, Ohio. She'll do online. So anywhere that sells their cigars online, they have us in the humidor, you should be able to purchase it that way. So.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to the guys, of course, and get their takes on, of course, the Micallef Black and see what each one's getting on note-wise, and then I'll come back to you again, Jeremy, with a couple of other questions. So, Kurt, of course, we'll start with you, and then, of course, you can pass it around to the other brothers. What are you getting out to that cigar, my brother? What are you getting out to close to the Black?
You were reading my mind. I was wanting to go there next. Just real quick before I go over what I'm getting out of the cigar. We're all smoking the Black, and I think one of the things that I appreciate about, and you kind of touched on it, was we've had a couple cigar makers on where they have cigars, and I think the Black falls into that category, where this is a $7 to $8 cigar. And smoking this cigar, I feel like it's a more expensive cigar. And I feel like you could charge more for it and get it. And I, as a consumer, every single one of us here with you tonight are everyday cigar smokers. So we're smoking at least 30 cigars a month. So for us, we really appreciate when we can find someone that'll do that for us. And that means a lot to us, because we've had other ones, where they've kept the price down. They have certain cigars where they keep the price down, and I feel like this Black is kind of in that category. So yeah. It's
if
something
I
we
could,
appreciate.
yeah, if I could speak to that, when they rolled out the black the first time. They, I think, sent a bunch to certain people, ambassadors, and asked what they thought that cigar should be priced at. And then when they came back with a price of anywhere from $12 to $15, our president was like, "It'll be $7 and $8." Now you won't. That's MSRP. Obviously, different shops will probably sell it with their taxes included. So you're looking at typically between a $7.50 to $8 Robusto and an $8.50 to $9 Toro, but still sub 10. So
Right. Yeah, me being in Georgia, there's a 23% tax, so I paid a little bit more, but still, with that, this is I love the cigar. This is the first time I've ever smoked the black. For me, I love this Mexican San Andreas wrapper. I got lots of nice cocoa, earthiness. I've got some mineral notes, and it's kind of, as I've transitioned, I'm getting ready to get into my final third because I'm the chimney of the group here, so I smoke kind of fast, but I've actually slowed it down. I don't have much of a cone tonight, so I love the transition that I'm getting. I got some nice cedar in there. The pepper is not overpowering. I know this is probably more of a stronger cigar, more of a fuller cigar, but I find it very, very nice. I don't know. For the new, I always ask myself, is this for the new cigar smoker? I would say if you've never smoked a cigar, I would say no. But if you've got a couple under your belt and you want to move up and you start to taste some notes, I think this would be an excellent cigar. So I'm really, really enjoying it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Grumpy, what are you getting over there, brother?
Of course, Grumpy.
Well,
he's in his first third.
I started on the second one. Thank you. Anyway, it on the foot before I lit it up. It had that nice cocoa. But when you light it up though, it's still cocoa, but to me it's that nice bitter, kind of the bitter chocolate, espresso chocolate kind of type note there. Very earthy, very, very pleasant. It has a very pleasant pepper presence. It's not overpowering at all. A little hard on my nose, but and sometimes I also think that it may want to get a little bit of leather in there, kind of hitting the back of my tongue, but I'm not quite sold on that yet. But one thing that you mentioned earlier, Jeremy, that I will agree with you on, there ain't a lick of sweetness in here that I can find.
Yep.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Yep.
I mean, of course, if there's a way to sneak a little chocolate cherry flavoring in here, I mean, that might be some kind of bomb diggity thing. But no, there's no sweetness, but it is a very smooth cigar. And like Kurt said, couple under your belt and you're looking to move up, this right here might be down your alley. But I don't know that I would start with it. But it is a very, very enjoyable cigar. I could sit with one of these. Well, maybe not with my morning coffee, but certainly anytime after lunch. I mean, hey. Yeah, you done well with this one. What do you think down there, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely getting some cocoa. Like you said, I think it's more of a bitter, like dark chocolate kind of thing. I don't find that overpowering at all. I'm definitely getting some leather. I'm closer to the final third now, or in the final third now. I'm definitely getting the pepper, but it's sort of stayed like in the background the whole time. It's never been a punch you in the face kind of pepper.
Right.
I've been getting a little bit of like a charred oak thing coming in now. I don't know if anybody else is gonna get that. That could just be me. paired with the drink I'm pairing it with, like I told you before, the rye. It's really nice contrast between the sweetness of that and the sort of almost savory smokiness of this cigar. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's burning pretty good. I've had to slow myself down a couple times. I had a pretty big cone going. That's all my fault. So not the manufacturer's fault. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. About to stick it so I can smoke the rest of it until it's down to nothing. So, Jess.
Well, I agree with the guys. That cocoa is definitely there. I get the leather. I don't get a lot of the pepper though. Just I eat a lot of spicy food, so getting a pepper note usually takes a lot more for me. But it was really
Sinus.
interesting because the 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 aroma I got from the cigar before I lit it was shocking to me because it was really like floral, and I was like, okay, what am I getting into? You know, and then we light it in and we start going on it, and it's absolutely delicious. Um, yeah, no sweetness at all. I've never really described a cigar this way, but you know, you got your regular gin, you got dry gin, you know, you got your dry ports, and I want to put this in that category, like a dry, you know, not in a bad way, dry cigar. No, the humidity is fine. It's just the flavor on it. It's just this. I don't know how to say it properly, but it just that's what it reminds me of. It's just a dry gin kind of thing.
Yeah, awesome. I dark cocoa and white pepper is the typical response to this. So you guys are dead on. If you retrohale, you'll definitely feel the pepper.
Definitely.
So I know, of course, Halfwheel did a review and they scored it out of 85, but I'm going to go with you, Jeremy. Where would you score the black? If you were doing a review on it, where would you score Micallef's black?
What's my numerical? Like 100? Is that
So basically,
overall?
out of construction, burn, of course, taste notes. Where would you put
Okay.
it? On a rating?
Construction. I'll do 10 as the highest. Construction to me is a 10. Um,
That's right,
I've
too.
I've never smoked one of these blacks and it ever canoe unless it was my fault or have a bad draw or be plucked. And I smoke a lot of them. So I think the construction is definitely 10. Flavor notes for me is about an 8.5. Um, I like the cocoa that's there. I like a pepper, but I like the retrohale. So to me, sometimes it can be a bit too spicy on the retro. Um, and I agree, it has that dryness to it, which is nice, especially if you're pairing it with a drink, specifically,
Hmm.
Yep.
a bourbon. It would pair nicely with. So that sweet, dry, and spicy. So um, burn 9.5, 10. What's my other options? What do I have? Did I get it?
Yeah. You know
Good.
something. When you look at a breakdown of it, that is a good breakdown to where you score. And of course, I'm going to go with Kurt. Because Kurt, we all know, of course, you do your reviews and how you score yours. So, of course, where are you scoring the black? We're smoking it tonight and sitting. Where would you, of course, score this, my brother?
Yeah, I kind of do something a little different when I review a cigar. I like to give it a number between a 1 and 10, and I kind of try to combine the strength along with the flavor, but it's more of a strength profile for me. This right here, I would say, as far as on strength, I expected it to be more, but I've got it at like about a 6, so like a medium, almost to a medium plus. It kind of falls right in there for me. That's why I say, for a very new cigar smoker, I would say no. But if you're starting to get into cigars, this is going to be like the next level up for you. So I would say about a 6. It's very enjoyable, and I'm a medium plus guy. That's pretty much my wheelhouse. I love to smoke, and this is fitting right in there for me.
That's that San Andreas Maduro. I think is a little. It brings the strength down some.
It's very nice. Very nice.
So
yeah, and I like San Andreas. I do like San Andreas wrapper.
Me too.
We that's what we tell people. They came out with it and called it a full body. It's if you don't smoke cigars every day, sure you can call it a full body. If you smoke every day,
see that, yeah,
it's medium to medium plus. I agree with your assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, solid medium to medium plus.
We won't keep you, of course, much longer because I know it's getting dark with where you are and everything, Jeremy. And it looks like it's getting cold to me. Well, it's probably not cold where you are. But if I was sitting there, I'd probably freezing. I would. But
he's in Ohio, so it's getting chilly.
Well, something. It's good. There's all the brothers have pretty much pulled out them notes, of course, of the cigar, and they've got it down and nailed it to what you've said. And this is the thing of why we do this. But, of course, what's coming up in the future for Micallef? And is there going to be some new cigars brought out at PCA, of course, in New Orleans next year? Is there going to be any collaborations with anyone in the cigar industry? What's the future for next year, of course, with Micallef Cigars?
So we have 2 cigars that will be released next year at least. One will be released at the PCA. Probably going to follow the same format as we did this year. So we at least have 5 in the color series. So we released 3. We have 2 more. I've heard rumblings that maybe there's more than just that. So I think making good quality, economical cigars is the future for sure. We're going to keep pumping these out.
Cool. Do you see Micallef working with anyone else in close collabs? Yeah.
That is a great question. And I really can't answer to it because I've never heard any conversation or asked that question myself. When we first started, we did work with another company that before we bought our own factory. That was that we collabed with. I won't share who they are, but we since, because we couldn't control price or quality during all that time, so we, and then had our own. We kind of cut out the middleman. But when it comes to a true collab, I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, let's go on this one then. If you could collab with anybody in the cigar industry, who would you collab with?
I mean, my favorite. So, I'm a huge Plasencia fan. But who would I collab with? Let me that for a second. I don't know. Plasencia.
This is why these guys keep me to the last minute, because I always come out with banger after banger of questions.
Yeah, he's got the questions that make you really scratch your head.
Yeah.
So, of course,
I don't know if I should say that.
Do it.
I enjoy Luciano.
Okay.
Luciano.
So, I enjoy some of the stuff he does. I enjoy his the way he does some things. I've been able to be in the same room with him with some events that we've done together. Yeah, so I maybe, yeah, Luciana.
Cool. And that's great that you've said, of course. 2% to you, yeah, everyone's ideal dream, of course, is to do one with Vicente. And I know when we've sat around and we've spoken about who we could make a cigar with, I know the likes, of course, Ricky Rodriguez has been brought up from West Hampton. Of course, he used to work for CAO. Of course, Ernesto. Of course, when we had Davey Spratt on from UP Carrillo and different people, there's that many. And you know something, this is a wonderful industry that we're in. There's so many different cigar factories, so many new cigars, and especially boutique, because we're big fans of boutique. We are big fans of boutique. And this, like when Matthew said, of course, we've got Micallef coming on, and we've got Jeremy coming on. I'm like, great, can't wait to learn about the company. And we hope there's everyone, of course, tonight watching on Instagram, of course, watching on YouTube, Rumble, because they've got this information by watching it. And you know something, Jeremy, thank you, of course, for being open. But my final question of the night, and this is my hardest question: 5 people alive or dead you would like to smoke a cigar with?
Man, my my mentor who passed away a couple years ago, I didn't even know that he enjoyed cigars until we did after his funeral. A bunch of guys came together and we all came together and smoked, and they would talk about how they were able to enjoy a cigar with him. If I would do anything to have that opportunity. Michael Jordan for sure, so I could just let him know he's better than LeBron. Just want him to know that for me.
I think he knows that.
So yeah. Yeah, I think Jesus would enjoy a good cigar, in my opinion. So that'd be cool.
There you go. There you go,
man.
There you go.
So that so that's 3. I'm a huge NBA guy, so I'll use another one. Steph Curry is my favorite player, which is another reason why I don't like Cleveland. Sorry, sir. And then my sons. So when they're of age and ready, I cannot wait for that moment. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't wait. But of course, with how the age has gone up now here in the UK, they're putting the year up every year over here in the UK, of course, to smoke anything, either cigarettes or, of course, cigars. When my son comes to legal age, he will never be able to ever smoke a cigar, but he'll smoke one in my back garden if you want to smoke one with me, of course. But it's going to be that one.
Right.
And I can't wait for my son, of course, to meet my brothers, as I call them, because these are my brothers. And without these, of course, they are my co-hosts as well. And that's the thing. And you know something, it's why we have a great show. And from me, it's a great big thank you, of course, for coming on. But Matthew, I'm going to pass it over to you. And yeah,
man. So again, thank you so much for giving us your time here today. This is a great cigar. I very much enjoyed it, and to go on a touch of how I would rate it, because my rating's all based on 2 things: how did it pair with whatever I'm pairing it with, and whether or not I buy it again. And this pairing has actually been fantastic. Again, with the sweet and the sort of spicy, oaky thing going on. Really good mix, and I would 100% buy another one of these cigars, and I will. So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to give everybody their moment to say their tagline. I'll start with mine. Don't start none, won't be none. Jess.
Keep them lit.
Grump.
Jesus ain't driving your bus. Pull it over. Let Jesus take that wheel. Catch me later.
Kurt.
All right, smoke them if you got them. And Jeremy, we really appreciate your time, man. We thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoyed it, my friend. Enjoyed it.
from me,
Yes.
stay safe, everyone, and we'll catch you, of course, next week That's our normal time, of course, of 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, and also, of course, for anyone in England, midnight. And I believe next week's episode, we're going to go down the rabbit hole. Oh, God help us all. We're going down that hole again. So we'll see you down the rabbit hole next week.
Hey!
But Jeremy, thanks again, my brother. Been great.
Thank you all.
Catch
I
you on the next
appreciate
one,
it.
everyone.
Thank you.
See you all soon. Have a great one.
Cigar Loons Podcast. We are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. Against a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons invaders of the cigar world. Lumpy preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Podcast, come and join us. Vitola and proof expert on all things spirits. Tobacco Gene Stitch, director of special operations. Cigar Loons Podcast, we are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. Against a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons invaders of the cigar world.